Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle a question that's both simple and profound.
Okay.
What makes humans so different from every other species on Earth?
Right.
You've provided us with a fascinating collection of material,
Yes.
mostly centered around Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens,
Uh-huh.
to help us explore that very question.
It's a question that has fascinated philosophers and scientists for centuries.
Oh, yeah.
And Harari offers a really unique perspective, drawing on insights from history, biology, anthropology, and even psychology.
Let's start with a pretty humbling fact.
Yeah.
For most of our existence, humans were just another animal.
Right.
Not particularly powerful or influential.
Yeah.
No more impact than a jellyfish, really.
Right.
But somewhere along the line, something changed.
That's right.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line, humans developed a set of unique abilities that allowed us to not only survive, but to thrive and ultimately dominate the planet.
Hmm.
And it's not just about our bigger brains, although those certainly played a role.
Speaking of brains, didn't I read somewhere that our brains use a huge GGA amount of energy compared to other animals?
Yeah,
How did we manage to evolve such energy-hungry organs?
it's true.
Yeah.
Our brains consume a whopping 25% of our body's energy at rest,
Wow.
compared to just 8% for other apes.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, one theory that attempts to explain this is the cooking hypothesis.
Okay.
The idea is that cooking our food made it easier to digest,
Hmm.
allowing us to extract more calories and nutrients.
Okay.
This surplus energy could have fueled the development of larger, more complex brains.
Ah, so it's like investing in a high-performance engine.
Yeah,
You need the right fuel to make it run,
exactly.
but is cooking the whole story? It seems like there must be more to it than that.
Of course, cooking is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Our upright posture, the loss of body hair, even our ability to sweat more efficiently, all of these adaptations contributed to our success. They allowed us to run longer distances, hunt more effectively, and regulate our body temperature in hot climates.
Oh, wow.
It was a combination of factors that ultimately gave us an edge.
So we got smarter, more resourceful, and better adapted to our environment.
Right.
But Harari argues that there's something else,
Mm-hmm.
something even more profound that sets us apart.
Okay.
Our ability to believe in things that don't physically exist.
Yes.
He calls this fictive language.
Yeah.
And it's the foundation of everything from religion to nations to corporations.
That's one of the most thought-provoking ideas in Sapiens.
I think so, too.
This ability to create shared myths, to imagine things that have no physical basis,
Right.
allowed us to cooperate in large numbers,
Yeah.
to create complex societies, to achieve things that would be impossible for individuals acting alone.
Mm.
Think about it. A company like Peugeot, it isn't a tangible thing.
Right.
It's an idea, a legal fiction, that exists only because we all agree to believe in it.
That's mind-blowing. You're saying our entire civilization is built on shared stories,
Exactly.
on collective imagination.
Yeah,
It's like we're all living in a giant collaborative novel.
exactly.
Wow.
And this ability to believe in shared fictions has given us a huge evolutionary advantage.
Mm-hmm.
We can adapt to changing circumstances, create new social structures, and transmit knowledge across generations much faster than through genetic evolution alone.
This fictive language is also what allows us to understand concepts like money, laws, and human rights.
Right.
None of these things physically exist,
Yeah.
but they have a powerful impact on our lives because we collectively agree to believe in them.
Precisely.
It's wild.
It is.
This shared belief, this collective imagination that allows us to cooperate on a massive scale, to build cities, create art, and even explore space.
Exactly.
So our ancestors weren't just physically evolving, they were also developing this incredible capacity for abstract thought, for storytelling, for creating meaning and purpose.
That's an amazing story.
It is. But does that mean they were all living in some kind of harmonious utopia, the noble savage idea?
Not quite.
Okay.
While there's evidence of peaceful coexistence and cooperation among some hunter-gatherer groups,
Okay.
there's also evidence of brutal violence and conflict.
Really?
Archaeological sites like Jabal Sahaba in Sudan reveal mass graves dating back thousands of years,
Wow.
with skeletons bearing the marks of violent death.
Hmm.
Clearly, life for our early ancestors was far from idyllic.
So it was more complicated than just living in harmony with nature.
Yes.
What about the idea that hunter-gatherers were all peaceful and egalitarian? Didn't Harari bring up some challenging examples that debunk this myth?
He did.
Like what?
Take the Ashe people of Paraguay.
Okay.
Anthropologists studying them documented practices that are shocking to our modern sensibilities.
Gotcha.
The killing of elderly or sick individuals,
Oh,
and even infanticide in certain circumstances.
really?
Now, this wasn't wanton cruelty. These were survival strategies in a world with scarce resources, where every mouth to feed had to be carefully considered.
It's a stark reminder that life for early humans was often harsh and unforgiving.
It was.
They had to make difficult choices,
Yes.
choices that we might find morally repugnant today.
Yeah,
It certainly challenges our romanticized notions of the noble savage,
it does.
for sure.
It forces us to acknowledge the complexities of human nature.
Right.
The fact that even in pre-agricultural societies, there were dark impulses and difficult decisions to be made.
Speaking of difficult decisions, let's talk about the agricultural revolution.
Okay.
This is often portrayed as a huge leap forward for humanity.
Right.
But Harari presents a more nuanced view.
Mm-hmm.
He calls it a luxury trap,
Okay.
where we traded the freedom and flexibility of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle
Right.
for the security and predictability of farming.
Okay.
But at what cost?
That's the key question.
Yeah.
While agriculture brought benefits like food surpluses and permanent settlements,
Mm.
it also led to longer working hours, greater susceptibility to famine and disease, and a more sedentary lifestyle.
Interesting.
In some ways, it could be argued that our lives became more difficult, not easier.
It's like that saying, work expands to fill the time available.
Exactly.
Did ancient farmers ever feel like they were on a treadmill, constantly working harder but never really getting ahead?
It's certainly possible.
And let's not forget the impact on domesticated animals.
Of course.
We selectively bred them for certain traits,
Yes.
often confining them in cramped and unnatural conditions.
Right.
The lives of domesticated animals became inextricably linked to our needs,
Yeah,
often at the expense of their own well-being.
it's true.
So the agricultural revolution was a mixed bag,
Yeah,
with both positive and negative consequences.
absolutely.
It allowed for larger populations and the development of complex societies,
Right.
but it also came with a whole new set of challenges and even ethical dilemmas.
That's a crucial point.
It is.
Progress is rarely a straightforward, linear process.
Mm,
There are always trade-offs, unintended consequences, and unforeseen challenges.
right.
And that's something that continues to this day as we grapple with the impacts of our technological advancements.
So agriculture led to larger, more settled populations,
Yes.
which eventually gave rise to
Empire.
empires, right?
These vast, sprawling entities that for centuries shaped the course of human history.
Yeah.
And while we often associate empires with conquest and oppression, Harari reminds us that they also played a crucial role in spreading ideas, technologies, and cultures.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
We tend to focus on the negative aspects of empires.
Right.
But there's a flip side to that coin, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Give me an example.
Take the Roman Empire, for example.
Okay.
It wasn't all about brutal gladiatorial contests and military campaigns.
Okay.
Roman law, with its emphasis on justice and due process,
Uh-huh.
had a profound influence on legal systems around the world. And Roman engineering feats like aqueducts and roads
Oh, right.
facilitated trade and communication across vast distances.
So in a way, empires acted as these unintentional accelerators of cultural exchange and technological diffusion.
Precisely.
It seems very efficient.
It was.
The Silk Road,
Yes.
which connected the East and West for centuries,
Uh-huh.
thrived under the patronage of various empires.
Exactly.
It wasn't just about silk.
Right.
Ideas, religions, and technologies flowed along those trade routes,
Yeah.
shaping the intellectual and cultural landscape of entire continents.
It's amazing.
It makes you wonder if certain advancements would have taken much longer to spread without the infrastructure and interconnectedness that empires, however flawed, provided.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
Empires, despite their often brutal methods,
Yeah.
created conditions that facilitated the exchange of knowledge and ideas on a scale that might have been difficult to achieve otherwise.
Now, speaking of things that spread and connect people,
Uh-huh.
how can we not talk about money?
Yeah.
It's another one of those imagined realities that Harari highlights.
Right.
But it's become so integral to our lives that it's hard to imagine the world without it.
It is remarkable, isn't it?
It is.
Money, in essence, is just a shared belief.
Right.
We collectively agree that these pieces of paper or these digital entries in a bank account represent value.
Mm-hmm.
And that shared belief allows us to engage in complex transactions and build intricate economic systems.
Think back to bartering. You'd need to find someone who not only had what you wanted, but also desired what you had to offer.
Right.
It seems incredibly inefficient.
Exactly. Money solved that problem by creating a universal medium of exchange.
Right.
It's like a social lubricant,
Okay.
allowing for specialization, trade, and economic growth on a scale unimaginable in a barter-based society.
But of course, money also has its downsides.
Oh, of course.
It can fuel inequality, greed, and even conflict.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The pursuit of wealth can become an end in itself,
Right.
distorting values and eroding social bonds, and access to money, or lack thereof, can create profound disparities in opportunities and life outcomes.
It seems like a classic double-edged sword.
It is.
This incredible tool that has facilitated progress and innovation, but also brought its share of challenges.
That's a great way to put it.
It highlights the importance of being mindful of how we use money,
Yes.
how we structure our economic systems, and what values we prioritize as a society.
Absolutely.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another powerful force in human history: religion.
Okay.
The rise of monotheism, the belief in a single God,
Uh-huh.
had a profound impact on the course of civilization.
Monotheism marked a radical departure from earlier polytheistic beliefs.
Yeah.
Polytheistic gods were often seen as capricious and indifferent to human affairs. But monotheism introduced the concept of a single, all-powerful deity who is deeply invested in human actions and judges us accordingly.
So it wasn't just about adding or subtracting gods.
Right.
It was a fundamentally different way of understanding the relationship between humans and the divine.
Precisely.
That must have been a huge shift.
It was.
And this shift had profound consequences.
Yes.
Tell me more.
It fostered a sense of universal morality,
Okay.
a belief in a shared set of values that transcended cultural boundaries. And it inspired a missionary zeal, a drive to spread the word of this one true God to every corner of the world.
But that missionary zeal, while powerful, also led to conflict.
Unfortunately, yes.
The history of monotheistic religions is riddled with examples of violence and persecution carried out in the name of God.
Yes, that's the dark side of this intense focus on a single absolute truth. It often led to intolerance and a perception of those with different beliefs as not just mistaken, but as a threat to the established order.
Take the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre in 1572,
Right.
where thousands of Protestants were slaughtered by Catholics.
But a terrible tragedy.
It's a chilling reminder of how religious fervor can turn deadly when combined with political power and a sense of righteous indignation.
It's a sobering example. And it raises questions about the nature of belief, the dangers of dogma, and the importance of tolerance and understanding in a world of diverse faiths.
Now, shifting gears once more to the realm of science.
Okay.
It's fascinating how Harari connects the scientific revolution with the rise of European empires. They seem like separate domains.
Right.
But he argues they were deeply intertwined.
That's right.
How so?
Well, we often think of science as a pure pursuit of knowledge,
Yeah.
driven by curiosity and a thirst for understanding.
Okay.
Harari points out that the scientific revolution was also fueled by very practical concerns: the need to solve problems, gain advantages, and expand empires.
So it wasn't just scientists sitting in ivory towers pondering the mysteries of the universe.
No.
It was also about finding ways to cure diseases that ravaged sailors on long voyages,
Yes.
to develop new navigational techniques, to build more powerful weapons.
Exactly.
Well-
Take the problem of scurvy, a disease that plagued sailors on long sea voyages. European powers were desperate to find a solution,
Of course.
as scurvy weakened their navies and hampered their expansion.
I see.
This need drove research into nutrition, eventually leading to the discovery of vitamin C and its role in preventing scurvy.
It's like a real-life example of necessity is the mother of invention.
It is.
The ambition to explore, conquer, and control new lands pushed European powers to invest heavily in science and technology.
And that investment paid off handsomely. It gave European empires a significant edge,
Right.
allowing them to dominate global trade, establish vast colonial empires, and reshape the geopolitical landscape for centuries.
It's a reminder that scientific progress is rarely a neutral endeavor.
Right.
It's often shaped by social, political, and economic forces,
Yes.
and its applications can have far-reaching consequences, both positive and negative.
Absolutely.
But here's a question that lingers in my mind after diving into all this. Has all this progress, from the agricultural revolution to the scientific revolution, actually made us happier? It's a question that has puzzled philosophers for millennia and still resonates today.
Right.
We've achieved so much as a species,
Yeah.
but are we truly any happier than our hunter-gatherer ancestors?
It's a fascinating question, and Harari approaches it from a somewhat surprising angle.
Oh,
Biology.
okay.
He argues that happiness is ultimately determined by our biochemistry,
Uh-huh.
specifically by the balance of certain neurotransmitters in our brains,
Like what?
like serotonin and dopamine.
So you're saying that regardless of our external circumstances,
Yeah,
our baseline happiness might be more hardwired than we think.
that's the idea.
Hmm.
He suggests that a medieval peasant, despite living a life that we might consider harsh and deprived,
Right.
could have experienced the same level of contentment as a modern-day millionaire.
That's a really intriguing concept.
It is.
It challenges our assumptions about progress and happiness, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not to say that material advancements haven't improved our lives objectively. Longer lifespans, better health care, access to knowledge.
Right.
But perhaps the subjective feeling of happiness is more constant than we realize.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
It raises the question of what we're truly striving for.
Yeah.
Are we chasing external markers of success and happiness,
Mm.
or are we looking for something deeper, something more intrinsic?
This brings us to what I find the most mind-boggling aspect of Sapiens,
Okay.
the future of humanity.
Right.
With bioengineering and cyborg technology rapidly advancing, we're on the verge of re-engineering our very nature.
Yeah.
Where could this lead us?
It's both exhilarating and unsettling, isn't it?
It is.
We've already seen remarkable breakthroughs in bioengineering, from
Right.
simple things like eyeglasses
Mhm.
to complex procedures like organ transplants.
Right.
Now, with technologies like CRISPR,
Yeah.
we're developing the ability to manipulate genes with incredible precision.
And it's not just about fixing what's broken. We're also talking about enhancement, pushing the boundaries of human capabilities.
Exactly.
Imagine athletes with genetically enhanced muscles,
Right.
or individuals with augmented cognitive abilities.
It raises a host of ethical dilemmas.
Oh, yeah.
Will these technologies be accessible to everyone?
Mm.
Or will they create a new class divide, a society of enhanced individuals and those left behind?
It's a scary thought.
It is.
How will we define what it means to be human when biology is no longer a given, but a matter of choice?
It's a question we'll have to grapple with.
It's like we're entering uncharted territory,
Yeah,
a new chapter in the human story.
it is.
And it's not just about technology.
No.
It's about the choices we make,
Yeah,
the values we prioritize, the stories we tell ourselves about what it means to be human.
that's a crucial point.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into human history,
Okay.
what's the most crucial thought you want to leave our listener with?
I think the most important takeaway is this. The future isn't something that happens to us. It's something we create.
We have the power.
We do.
Wow.
We're not passive passengers on this journey. We're the architects, the storytellers.
That's a powerful way to put it.
The choices we make today,
Mm-hmm.
individually and collectively, will determine the course of human history for generations to come.
What an amazing thought to leave us with.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.